Pure evil in Birmingham. This is the story of Mahogany Jackson. We'll be back in a couple of moments. Greetings and welcome back to my channel for another video. Happy Friday to one and to all. Prayerfully, you all are enjoying this day, and for some of my viewers who are abroad, happy Saturday. This video, as you can see, is entitled Mahogany Jackson. And why did they do this to her? Now, I want everyone to remember the name Mahogany Jackson. This is a story that came out in late February, and more details are surfacing. Before I begin, this will definitely be a trigger warning to many, and I will be choosing my words gingerly. But before I proceed, let me briefly place up the Fair Use Act disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, which states allowance is made for fair use of copyrighted material for purposes of commentary, criticism, news reporting, research, education, teaching, and/or scholarship. It provides for the legal, non-licensed citation and or incorporation of copyrighted material by others, which might be infringing under other circumstances. And most definitely needed is the viewer discretion disclaimer. The following broadcast contains mature themes and situations intended for adults. Viewer discretion is advised. Again, this is Mahogany Jackson. And before I actually get into the video, and please forgive me for my voice cracking, this is just a horrible, horrible story. However, in my opinion, it is something that needs to be discussed. And I may go live later on tonight if anyone is interested in discussing this horrible story and the behavior of young people. Now, as you can see on your screen is the word evil, an adjective profoundly immoral and wicked. His evil deeds, evil. Mahogany Jackson, 20 years old. Now, I want to appeal to the parents out there with children, teenagers, or young adults just getting their feet wet in the world to pay attention. And again, I implore you always to conduct your own independent, thorough, meticulous research. And there is a lot of information here. And again, this is just a quick video. I plan to go live if there are others that will be up, men, women, because many of my listeners, they do have children, they do have daughters, and this is so dark. This is so sick. Unfortunately, very relevant. I repeat, remember the name Mahogany Jackson. Now, even though I'm focusing on Mahogany Jackson right now, keep in mind there are many Mahogany Jacksons. 20 years old. 20 years old. A young mother of her 3-year-old daughter who's been left behind because for whatever, in my opinion, possessed these people, allegedly, for men and for women, to dim the light of this young woman is beyond reprehensible. Again, keep in mind what I stated at the top of the broadcast. This will be a trigger warning for many. And as I mentioned, I will be choosing, as I always attempt to do, my words because of the nature of the story. And again, the parents, friends, according to many sources, and again, forgive me if I pause even more than I normally do. This is extremely hard to get through. 20-year-old Mahogany Jackson from Birmingham, and I will say allegedly. However, there is a plethora of information available that you may discover on your own. And the way, and I'm giving you a warning, that it is actually written may be very disturbing for many of you to read. So that is why I'm choosing other words which mean the same, but it's not as dark, or I'm trying to make it as not as dark. She was compelled to remove her clothing, tortured, forced to perform acts. And I don't believe I need to illustrate the type of acts we're speaking of here succumbed, unfortunately, as a result of a fatal injury inflicted after all of the aforementioned. And the darkest, most sick part of this entire heinous act of senseless violence, according to, and again I must say, allegedly, to be prudent and responsible, it was filmed allegedly by several members who took part in the demise of Miss Mahogany Jackson. Further, it has been reported, which makes the story even more painful, is that Miss Jackson, Mahogany Jackson, messaged her family to state that she was being held hostage. Now, again, when you do your research, and there is plenty of information available, according to prosecutors, approximately 4 men and 4 women are being accused, as I mentioned earlier, of this horrible, horrible, and tragic act against one 20-year-old named Mahogany Jackson, February 25th. Please keep your prayers for Mahogany, her 3-year-old daughter, her family, friends, and loved ones. To the parents that may listen and see this video, please be sure that you share this very important story, because as I mentioned, even though for purposes of this broadcast, I'm speaking on Mahogany Jackson, there are many Mahogany Jacksons whose stories have not been told, and sadly may never be told. Your comments and thoughts are welcome. And as I mentioned, I may go live to discuss this because there is something seriously wrong with our young people. Is it upbringing? Is it recreational use of certain stimuli? Is it sheer evil, the disregard of life? This really needs to be discussed candidly. Thank you for taking a moment to listen.